we have a budget coming up. What would you like to see, and what are you hoping you don't see?
Well, in every conversation with the Treasury, the very first thing that we say they need to do is to put support in place for businesses for the whole of 2021. Simple fact of the matter is, setting an arbitrary date of the 3rd of March and saying this is when I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do is really unhelpful, because you've got a cliff edge at the end of March on VAT, on business rates reliefs, and on a lot of the other support that's been in place, and then a cliff edge on the furlough scheme at the end of April. And a lot of businesses are planning right now for what they do when those schemes end. So we've encouraged the Chancellor, the Treasury, and anyone else who will listen to announce that roadmap for support as early as possible. Do it right now, do it today. Say you're going to extend business rates relief. Say you're going to extend forbearance on VAT. And say that you're going to have the furlough scheme in place until it's very obvious that businesses are able to reopen and rebuild their demand. Because if you don't do that, all you're going to do is cause people to take preventative measures to protect their businesses, and they'll go into a defensive crouch. And once they're in it, it's very hard to come back out again.
Yeah.
So we really do need to see a budget that extends support measures. On top of that, though, we also need to see a budget that looks to recovery and growth. So we need to answer questions about how do we recapitalize a lot of the businesses that have taken on so much debt during this period? How do we make sure they have the working capital and growth capital that they need to expand again? How do we get connectivity moving again around the world so that businesses can find new markets and find new customers? You know, there's a lot of big picture questions for the longer term that also need to be answered. One thing the Chancellor shouldn't do is prioritize sanitizing the public balance sheet ahead of getting the recovery firmly in train. I'm afraid that this is a situation where, even against my own instincts, you need to spend in order to get the economy working again before you can then retrench. So you've got to avoid tax rises. You've got to avoid cutting back and going into early austerity. There will be a time when business, the public, and all of us have to pay back what has been borrowed, but it's too soon to go down that route just yet.